Does everyone see it?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So welcome everybody to the part 3 of our movement through the Agricola. Thank you for joining us. Today I want to try something a little different with this first section, which I thought, how many of you, I know everyone did a little prep, but I thought this section 8 was really, really tricky. Or it was going to take us a long time to get through. So what I did was, you see it in front of us, and I'll just read it really quick. I'll read the first sentence. Priorat to Britanniae, Tacitus Bolanus, Facilius quam parochi parochia dignum est. Deferavit Agricola vem suam audorumque contesquit, ne increstuit, peritus obsequi eridutusque utilia honestis miseret. Okay, so what I did here was, you'll see the screen change. Do you see it change to something that's all color coded?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what I did was, I color coded 3 things basically. First, all the yellows are the verbal ideas, which I just want to go through and just see, because meaning of any passage is in the verbs, and you see, I even for that reason yellowed the participles, peritus and eriditus, because those participles are actually adjectives based on verbs. And then in these oranges you see the connectives, and then the greens are these datives. Okay, are these important datives, because the datives are kind of key here. Okay, now so this priorat is one of these verbs where, just like prefacit, you see prefacit down here? With the prefix pri, it triggers a dative. Okay? So, he was leader for Britain, Britanniae, okay? And same down here, prefacit, he made him leader over part of the army and over more forces. So I wanted us to just look at these verbs first, just to get through the verbs and be really key what the verbs are doing, and then we'll build everything else in. Okay, after we look at the as well as connectives. So priorat, he was at the head then of Britanniae, Vetius Bolanus. And then our next word, dignum est, okay, and then Tacitus, he was a more placid person, quam dignum est parochi parochia. And parochi parochia, there too, dignum takes the ablative. So, the more placid character then was appropriate, and was appropriate or deserving to so ferocious a province. Okay?
Okay, so it's like there. That's an adverb.
It's a comparative adverb. It's a comparative adverb.
So the parochi parochia, though, those are ablatives, not datives?
Those are ablatives.
Okay, because I had it like he was suited with respect to that. So actually, I do have a question though with dignum est. Why is it dignum instead of, why is it like a feminine, for example? Or what's
here.
Right, it's imperative. So he was head of Britain, but he led in a more placid manner than was worthy, and that's where you get the dignum est, because of the neuter. From dignum est, I'm taking that as how it's worked. But unless dignum est is impersonal. But let's just keep going, and so we can just keep our movement forward. But do you see what's going on, Justin? Kind of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it. Like I could write it down,
very short. So it's like a really good, if you have the book, you can very much just get an overview by looking at it. Whereas Gildersleeve is about like 4 times as long as Bennett. So it's just chock full of all these details. Now, a lot of those details hit precisely on what would be Tacitus's idiosyncrasies. For you, Justin, to take your level of the grammar to the next level, you need that next level step of like, say, Bennett's New Latin grammar. So I'll send you the PDF just so you have it. But you should order the book. I think the book makes it just easier to work with and easier to look through. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I want to encourage you because I was getting the sense that you were still kind of like hanging on the wheellock and didn't realize that. Well, I mean, elementary students often don't realize, but Paul knows this well. An elementary textbook just gets you in the door. It just gets you in the door. It's concentrating on morphology, and there's so much other grammatical detail, especially when you start reading these later authors. But even for any classical author, even for Cicero, that you're only going to find in a real grammar. And ultimately, you do need Gildersleeve. I mean, there's no way about it. I mean, I use Bennett's New Latin grammar with my high school students because there's no way a high school or an 8th grader would not just be totally overwhelmed by Gildersleeve. But you know Gildersleeve, I mean, Paul, you of course know who Gildersleeve was, right?
Yeah.
They fought for the gray in the Civil War and got wounded. I always love the fact that he fought for the gray in the Civil War and got wounded. And he's very famous for his commentary on Pindar. His commentary on Pindar's Odes is you still can't beat it as the best one. So he was quite a classicist. Taught at Johns Hopkins. Okay. So now this next sentence is the real bold. Because look at it. Look how many items I had to highlight as being verbal. Temperawit, compescuit, nay, incresterit, peritus, obsequi, eruditus, and miseret. So this thing is just chock full of verbal ideas, and that's what makes it so absolutely cumbersome. Okay? So now we gotta look at this quack, because it's really weird, the word order here. I mean, not weird, but it just is interesting. He begins with temperawit, then gives you the subject, when sua. Okay? And then you get, what's that called? Chiasmic, chiasmus. Then you get arderemque compescuit. So what I'm saying is, you get A, B, B, A. You get temperawit, wem, suam, arderemque compescuit. So Agricola tempered his own passion, violence of enthusiasm, and held down his ardor, his love, probably for Gloria Militiae, okay? Nay incresterit. Now, one of my commentaries says that, okay, lest it grow, and incresterit is an interesting verb. If you look it up, it's like, like vines that would be growing into a wall or something growing where it doesn't belong, okay? Or it could just mean to grow bigger. So the question with nay incresterit is whether it's transitive, lest Agricola become too much of a big shot, lest he grow crest too large of the scene, or whether, as one of the commentaries suggested, you have to supply something like arderemque, lest his, or when arderemque, lest his lest he mount his own ardor too much. Because incresterit is usually it's a subject, like his anger increase, that type of thing. So it's a little odd, this nay incresterit, but we can get the idea. Okay, now, and then we get here these after this, peritus, eruditusque, and then you have two infinitives that are hanging on these two participles. So peritus, knowing, obsequi, and that's an infinitive, okay? Knowing to just keep his head, to keep, to play the second, to be obsequious, that's not what it means in Latin, but let's just use that root. Peritus, knowing, obsequi, and eruditusque, and knowing changing the sex bed. So we have the daenda saying, basically next, and then brevi is an ablative of time. So soon thereafter, okay, Britannia consularum Patilium Caralium Acabit. So Britain got a new commander. Okay? Okay. And then the tricky thing here is how quickly it changes subject. So habera virtutes fatium exemplorum. The virtues, i.e., Agricola's own virtues, now they had time, they had space for exemplorum, for being shown off, for being an example, okay? And it's a very interesting use of exemplorum. I would really wish I kind of looked it up in the big Lewis and Short. But you get the idea what it means. Now there was fatium exemplorum. Space, room to be an example, room of example. So this is just a really kind of just typical of Tacitus, the way he just kind of twists language in a different way than other people would. Okay? So then we get, again, see the in orange, the sed primo, mox et, but first, and then thereafter. So, sed primo, caralis, and that's a nominative subject, labores modo et discrimina, and the modo here means only. Okay, it's just an adverb. So caralis first, and so we need to jump to the verb communicava. So caralis first gave him, okay, communicava, again, interesting use of the word, labors only and dangerous situations, test. Okay, I mean, discrimina are like, things that are like problematic situations, like moments of crises. He only gave him, but mox et gloriam communicava. So first he was just, I guess, testing him and giving him hard work, and then finally he gave him something for glory. So I guess you could think of it as giving him like rough work to begin with, and kind of things that could go either way, and then finally he gave him mox et gloriam communicava.
But it reminded me of the sentence they had earlier when they were talking about Britain being attacked or the rebellion. That at first they fought only for survival, but then for victory. So it's like
that's a good parallel. Let's go back. That was way back. Yeah, here we go. So here we go. Down here, Tom. There we have Tom and Mox. Okay. So obviously Tom and Mox, but exactly it's the same thing. But instead of Tom, here we have for the first dominant. Here we have sed primo. Okay. Okay. So I mean, golly gee, you guys. I mean, you guys all know about those guys who study prose rhythm. I mean, I'm so far from that. I mean, I'm sure there are reasons for what he's going after with this prose rhythm here that an expert could analyze. But the primo caralis labores modo et discrimina mox et gloriam communicava. Okay? And then we get the colon and now an explanation. And then saipe and then aliquando. Okay? So saipe, often, and then aliquando, finally, or eventually. Okay? So praeteket, and here again the pride triggers these datas. So often, and again, it's the same thing as before, guys. He only gives you the verb at the end of the last of the two, and so you have to, supply that same verb here, which is, something that Latin always does. Okay, but it's important just to realize. Saipe parti exercitus, genitive, in experimentum, aliquando maioribus copiis ex eventu praeteket. So, at first, okay, anyone want to translate that? I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Saipe parti exercitus in experimentum aliquando maioribus corpibus copiis ex eventu praeteket. So praeteket, the subject is, of course, Vetius. And you have to supply the hymn of Agricola. Oh no, I
say like frequently he commanded, so like frequently Agricola commanded, the party, so the dative, the part, and then executus genitive of the army as an experiment,
See, I think that's exactly the point, and that's why in my mind, and maybe I'll think of this different next week. We've got to go Agricola and make the subject with the olives. Okay.
But would Vedius though be predicated? Would Agricola be the object of that then, or
yeah? Because Caesar's always like making someone the head of some legion. You know what I'm saying? Predicated is a common verb for appointing an underling as head of some like battalion or something.
But wouldn't Agricola then have to be in the dative then?
No.
Not in that case.
No. It's like you make X, who's in the accusative, to be the head of Y. And the thing is, the dative, if you took, I'm very good that you're asking this, okay? Because this is a case where the prepositional prefix, you have to imagine, instead of try to fake it, you just had fake it, and then you had, watch this, you had try. He made him the head of many forces, and he made him the head of, he made him in front of part of the army.
Right. So it's like in the sense that initially we had the other at the beginning, priorat that belonged to us.
It's the exact same construction. It's the exact same explanation for the data. And you think there's
this.
Yes.
In this case, there's an accusative object, but that accusative object is paired with a dative.
Yes.
Okay. It's almost like you could explain this as an indirect phrase way that he made him to command that.
Almost, but that's not really the way you want to explain it. The way you want to explain it is, and like I say, this is where you need to get a grammar, because I'm looking at the independent right now, where he says, okay, many verbs. Okay, hold on. Okay. The common use of the dative is to note the person to whom something is given, said, or done. Okay, the indirect object. And then under 3, he says, the third subdivision of that is, with many verbs compounded with the prepositions ad, context, here, some, in, inter, post, cry, pro, soothe, and super, you get the dative as the indirect object. So the example here is the simple exer ketui praetekit. He was in command of the army. He was in command of the army. Okay, so I'm wrong. But they're making it Agricola. I'm gonna have to look that up, guys. But I'm sure that Julius Caesar does it the other way. We're making someone. But here they're acting like praetekit can actually be in command. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread it. That's praefuit. So I am right. That's praefuit, the thing we had earlier. Praefuit. Okay, where Witius is the subject. Witius praerat Britanniae, but praetekit, okay, praetekit. Praetekit, you need the praetekit, you just need the accusative.
Right. So like the two actions then, priorat would be the act of commanding something itself. Praetekit is the act of making someone to command something.
Right. So think in the terms of Justin. I was the head of the army. I was the head to the army. I made X the head to the army.
Yeah. So you saw the dative army.
Before in front of the army as leader. So
right.
It's a very common construction. If you see it, it's very, very common. Okay. Okay, so now to finish off, we get this neck, and then so should be another neck, but there's not. Okay, nor Agricola did Agricola ever exult in his deeds, in the things he accomplished. And that's the data. Gestes. It's the data. I mean, it could be, I think, the dative of emotional cause, the dative of reason or cause for the emotional state. Nor did he dance up and down, nor did he do a end zone celebration on account of Gestes, but he did. For the purpose of elevating his own reputation. Okay? But nor did he do this. I think what we really want to hear is something like that. He didn't do that, but Kareva, he referred the fortune ad authorem actucem to its author and his leader. Okay? And then you get this minister, which actually is in parentheses under the text. But I want to show you guys, I want to make it stand out as being in the parentheses and show you this wonderful entry that Lane gives for it. Minister, okay? Look what Lane says here. Lane's Latin grammar in 1944. Put as like sometimes shows that the noun is used predicatively. Okay. Sometimes shows that the noun used predicatively is not literally applicable, but expresses an imputed quality or character. Okay? Now look at the bottom after the examples. In an untrue or merely figurative comparison, tam quam or quasi is used. Justin, just to give you an idea, this is the type of detailed information that we will only find in the more advanced grammar, Right. And then, so let's just look at these examples, because I always like to look at the examples. It's worth to stop and look at them. Okay, and when you're reading a grammar, Justin and Larry, don't bother trying to just translate the Latin off the bat. Okay, read the English first. Read the English translation first, because you want your brain power to be going to figure out what that grammatical issue is. You don't want it to be sucked up by trying to translate the passage itself. So Cicero foretold what is now actually occurring, like a bard inspired. So Cicero is like a bard inspired, okay? Cicero eat by nunc iuso venium, taken at ut vate, as the bard inspired. So this ut vate, it could just be, vate is thrown in the middle somewhere, but in the predicate, but the ut vate makes the predicate explicit. So the next example. They bow the knee to dog and cat at God. Okay? Condom as phylum. I never knew what the word cat was. Condom as phylum ut deos colon. Okay? And then
it's almost like you sets it up for, what you basically just call simile, what you do.
Well, not really. It's more like, in the capacity of. Yes, it is a simile, but this is look how, this is what I love about these advanced grammars. Look how finely nuanced this distinction is. Okay, it's a predicate that's not literally applicable, but expresses an imputed quality or character versus one that would be untrue or merely figurative. So we got tam quam and quasi, which would be just figurative or untrue. But this one just expresses an imputed quality. It's not totally literal, okay? So, minister, of course, we know what that means, kind of helpmate, okay? So, he referred, almost in the capacity of a helpmate, as if he were just a helpmate, okay? The fortune, the good result to his commander. Auctorem and actucem is probably just, indictes for his commander. Okay? So, the last one.
Walter.
Yes, sir.
Gestes in the line above is ablative. Gestes is solid.
I think you're right. I really think you're right. What did I say? Did I say janitor or something crazy like that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys. remember,
Well, he exalted.
so a lot of the use of the ablative like slide off into the genitive in Greek. Go on, Paul.
Yeah, he exalted in the things done unto his own fame.
But next, he did not.
Right.
Yeah, nor did he exalt in the things done. Exploding, heightening his own reputation. But instead, he referred the good outcomes to his commander.
And then ex a went to, did we translate that?
Oh, we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Good call. Thank you. So we have this two part here. So often he placed him at the head of a part of the army, but then exa went to, on the basis of the result, that went well. He made him then ultimately the head of greater forces.
Right, like he's put up there to be part of the army as a test, the rest of the army as a result of the test.
Right. He's probably not given a cohort, what was that, 40 or 50 men or something? And then that worked out well, so he's probably given, whatever the next, numerical group was. So ultimately he's actually leading a whole wing of like an army in battle or something. So thank you very much, Paul. I forgot. And that extra went to is very, very important. So on the basis of the good outcome, okay, he was given a head of even bigger forces. Not just a part of the army, but even bigger forces. So, for all we know, Wetius could have been sitting back in the tent, up on the hill, not even getting near the ground. But Agricola was the guy who was actually right there. I don't know. Did any guys know third families know any of those ranks and stuff?
I've studied that a little bit.
Yeah. Whoever would be the lieutenant general or whoever, who would actually be, on the battlefield. I mean, I like those World War II movies and stuff. Whoever that guy would be, that's who Agricola ended up being. Not the guy back in the command tent, but the guy who was actually in, getting in harm's way. Okay. So then you get this really nice little end. I mean, it's perfect. It's almost just typical of the way he ends. Okay. Shifting back to that undercurrent of social criticism or just, morality and this and that, how you play the game. Ita, and then virtute, and these have to be, I think, ablatives of means. Virtute et verecundia. Okay? Therefore, by virtute in obsequendo. I mean, you almost always want to say virtus, but to be some manly military thing. I don't want to say anything more than, in strength of following, by virtue of him being a good follower, obsequendo. Didn't we have that above? Obsequi? See?
Yeah.
Okay. So by being good in following and verecundia, kind of like shy and pridicando, in tooting his own horn. Okay? And so these are, of course, ablative gerunds. Ablative gerunds. And that's one thing. Gildersleeve is absolutely wonderful in his explanations of the gerunds and gerundives in their various cases. Okay? So by virtue, thus, by his virtue in following and his shyness in tooting his own horn, he was, eros, expert in wittium, he was outside of envy, nec common. There is no common in the text, but the commentaries say, nor, however, was he beyond glory. So in one glory, he just didn't get anyone's jealousy. So here again, we have this whole theme of moderation appearing again. I'm sure some poor slut has written a dissertation on it. Okay? So I want to just read the whole thing to us, okay? Without the distraction of the pink and then of the colors. Anyone could ask a question when I'm done. Okay, prior up to Britanniae, Letius Bolanus, Facidius quam feroci provenci ad dignum est. Deferavit Agricola vensuam ad remque secundia in predicando, extra invidia, net extra gloriam era. So you see how cool that is? Isn't that totally cool? But it is tough. There's no way about all the switches of subjects and just kind of the interesting use of cases. Okay.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say is going back to the third line there, ne in crescere.
Right. Go for it, Paul.
That at least the way it's punctuated with Agricola being the subject of compescule, and then peritus obsequy following it, ne in crescere, and based on what we've come down to in the final end of the paragraph, extra invidium next extra gloriam era, that it seems to give some arguments that it's Agricola that would grow beyond.
You know, I agree with that, Paul. I really do agree with that, because if you just contemplate ardo rimque or something as a subject and make it transitive, then it's just really redundant. You know, he's already said tempora rem and compescuit ardorum, and now, it doesn't make, it's just redundant. So I agree with you.
I think the final sentence here confirms that it has to be Agricola, ne Agricola in crescere.
Right. I totally agree. You know, and it just has to be lefty growth too prominent or something. I mean, and it's so cool, I mean, I didn't read much Silver Latin when I was a graduate student. I only read like exactly what was required, but now there's Tacitus, there's Martial, there's Juvenal, there's plenty, forgotten. I mean, I woke up in the middle of the night. You guys are gonna laugh. I woke up in the middle of the night last night thinking about Lucan of all people. I haven't thought about Lucan in probably 4 years. So there's this whole other world of Latin that opens up, when you move into this, beyond Virgil and Horace. So I'm looking forward to exploring it, and doing justice to it in the coming years. Okay, good, guys. So, that was tough, and it took almost 40 minutes to get through that, but you can see how hard it is. It was kind of hard. Now it gets easy, I think. Okay? So, so now, rentem, of course, the accusative refers to Agricola as the object. Rentem ad legionis, he was Vespasian. Okay, so Vespasian the god, when they made him a god, but
well, that means he's dead.
Well, how could he Stephen enter Patricos? How could he choose him? How could he elevate him into the patricians if he's dead?
Well, because Tacitus is writing about him after he died. That's the only thing.
I get it. He wasn't dead then. Oh, I get it. Okay, that's forget me. I'm having a huge brain cramp. Yes. Right. Okay, that is great. That is so great, lyricologically. He's referring to the Vespasian in his divine eternal state. Right. I mean,
it's almost like saying like Vespasian, God rest his soul, made him this.
Like that. Okay, I mean, I know you guys are all, I mentioned this all the time, but I think President Obama's graduate class, but I never met him as an undergrad, so it's like me saying, oh yeah, me and the president hung out, in front of Butler Hall at Columbia and drank coffee before we went in the library one night, Yeah, like that, man, like that. Oh, that really helps me out, Paul, but that's so important. That's such a great important point. Thank you, Paul. I had no idea what was going on there, because of course, Caesar was made a god, but he was still alive. So I was just a little confused. I'm always thinking about Julius Caesar.
Yeah, well, the emperors are divas after they're dead.
Okay, good. Unless you're Julius Caesar.
He wasn't an emperor.
Okay. So we know it's so Askiwit Interpratricio. They always had to keep feeding people into the patrician class. Okay, and we all know or should know about the patrician
an apposition.
Or, yeah.
It's an adjective?
No, it's apposition. It's a noun.
Oh, so it's just a straight opposition.
Yeah, it's
Okay, good. I wanted it somehow to be like a genitive, province of Aquitania, but I'll go with the opposition. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's keep moving, okay? And if everyone thinks different next week, they can come back with it, okay? Now, this is really, really cool. Okay, this is really, really cool. I like this next part, okay? Because, so now we get, in primis, okay, splendidae and primis dignitatis, which has to be genitive, genitive of description, okay? You know, foremost, and talk about the province. The province was foremost in its splendid dignity, right? And then you get these two adjectives of respect, both with respect to its administrative importance and with respect to its hope of the consulship. It was a stepping stone to being elected consul, okay? And here's my question of the day, guys. Qui destinare. What is the tense of destinare?
Perfect.
Who said that? Was that you, Larry? Oh, no.
It's Justin.
Oh, Justin, okay. Did your commentary cheat? But that's one of those.
No. Well, I had a flashback to, Destinare, the syncopated perfect or something. I was thinking, like, arat. That's really, really weird.
Yeah, I looked at that and I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then finally I figured out it was syncopated perfect.
Then I had flashbacks of Homer and, so
right. Now,
smashed the letters.
Yeah, well, I dragged Justin through my intensive Homer class last summer and fall, so he's gonna have flashbacks on that for the rest of it. He's gonna be breaking up in cold sweats, recording that for the rest of his life.
Yeah, sure. Look at a contraction now, yeah.
Okay, so here, of course, the subject is switches to Vespasian, the consulship for which divine Vespasian had designated him. A stepping stone, okay? Let's take that right now, and if people think any different, but this is one of these cases where this qui, you're wondering what could possibly be the antecedent to it. But we know destinare takes the dative, Okay.
I do have a question actually about with Splendide.
Yeah.
So is Splendide, I initially wanted to make, because like you said it was gender, I initially wanted to make it dative so that it was an apposition.
Yeah, but see, then, it has to agree with dignitas. And the whole thing
has to agree.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that's important to realize is that Latin will always work in these groups of words. Okay? It will always work in these limbs. And if you made Splendidi to be somehow dative in apposition, then dignitas would just be, you'd be left with like just this one word limb. And it really wouldn't work.
It's like a genitive of description, though, like.
It is a genitive of quality.
Right.
Okay. The province of extreme dignity splendid dignity in the foremost.
Yeah, or maybe prestige.
Exactly.
Oh, I
see. Precisely the word you want. Prestige is exactly the word you want. Okay? Now he goes on to this very interesting thing.
And spay might be well translated as expectation.
Yes.
Expectation of a consulship.
Right.
To which he had.
Right. There was a stepping stone. I'm watching House of Cards and what's his name has just become vice president. So he has spay consulatu on his mouth. But anyway, okay? So praise and plerique, and we know plerique just means most folks. Many people think, they believe, okay, that essence, to be lacking that subtlety or fineness of mind is lacking utility is lacking to military law. And then it gives the reason.
Yeah, so that's data.
Right. Pardon?
Data with data.
Oh, you want it to be data?
Yeah, with data.
Oh, okay. Why do I want it to be ablative separation? Or ablative of a lack. Okay, let's not worry about it. Let's keep moving. But, okay. We are constant, and so, but hold on. I want to make the point to Justin and both Larrys. The most important thing is that you get a full grammar and that you familiarize yourself with all the subtle different case usage, which get even more complex in Latin because it has the ablative. Actually, that's not true. I mean, Greek is much more complex just because it's crazy. But knowing the different case usages and just being able to work with them is very, very good. And Justin knows from our work with my thing on Homer how obsessive I was about chasing down the case, the specific usage of case. But it's so important. I mean, this is the way in which, like something like something like book, it really does just get you in the door with a few of the most important case usages. But you really need to go into the trenches to be able to decide, like this little sub-debate that Paul and I are engaged in, what the hell's going on with Ibis E's here, because again, Latin has the non-hockey thing that the ablative and dative forms are identical in the plural. Okay, but keep on going, because we'll worry about later. Quia transgresses judicio, secura et utosio actura manu agens, caliditatem furi non exercens. Okay, so castrensis, of course, is the adjective for of the camp. So camp justice is secura. It doesn't have any anxiety. It's without care. It doesn't have anxiety. You're not going to have someone doing an appeal or anything. Okay, it's obtusior. It's more blunt, and it's agens manu plura. It's just rough and ready, doing things, with the hand. Agens doing those things just, right off you just decide what you're gonna do. Make your decision. So now notice how he has three different forms. Just a nominative, straightforward adjective, a nominative comparative, and then he goes to the participle. So perfect example of three things that he lines up next to next, but using a different, what do I want to say, category of word, regular positive adjective, comparative adjective, and then participle. So, okay? And so because, being all those things, caliditatem furi non exia. It does not, practice the cleverness of the form. Okay?
Is that ablative then, or?
Oh no, it's genitive.
It's genitive?
The form, the form.
Yeah, so basically how I put ablative.
Oh God, no, I mean, we all know how easy it is to just miss the most basic thing. It's amazing. I was giving a big lecture to my Latin 2 students today, how just so absolutely important that any noun you're dealing with, what the declension belongs to. And how that is just number one. So you always have to learn the genitive singular of any word, so forum, fori. You always learn the genitive singular of any noun you learn, even if it's just, Agricola. You always just learn them as a piece. Never learn just the nominative. You have to be absolutely and unhesitatingly clear of what declension belongs to. Okay? Now,
Walter.
yes, sir.
Exercias is junctive.
Yes. So, so again, is that getting is that just because all subordinate clauses in the
sense, you could, it's almost characteristic, it has some application here in the sense that there's a little bit of uncertainty, in spite of the fact that, it just follows the rule of being within indirect statement. If you, I know you've read the grammar a lot more than I have, so I'm wondering if would you admit two reasons like that, or is it just not worth even thinking about, given that it falls within indirect discourse?
I think it's not worth thinking about. But what was the second reason? Can you pay it out for a second that you gave, Paul? What was the second reason? I'm just curious.
Well, there's a kind of uncertainty there, that it may or may not have exercised the.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay, it's not saying a simple fact. Yes, exactly. That doesn't make sense. Okay, yeah. Let's look into that. It could be double. What's that? Overqualified. Yeah, that's possible as well. Okay, so that's good to point out. But that is the general sense of the subjunctive. That it's just an idea. It's not necessarily a fact. It's just an idea. That is your basic distinction between the indicative and the subjunctive. Indicative is the case of facts, hard bodies in the world, and the subjunctive is the case of mere ideas or conceptions. Okay? So good point. Okay? So, and this next bit is easy. Agricola naturali prudentia in your evidence of manner, or I guess, or maybe even mean. Okay? Agricola, by virtue of his natural prudence, okay? Facile justaque ageva. And these, of course, are just adverbs. He conducted his affairs, in a facile, in a just and easygoing manner. Okay? And then the problem was just, I was very confused by this, but it's very simple. Although, inter togatos, you have to realize that the military general would be rendering justice to civilians, although he was among civilians. Although he was rendering justice among civilians. Okay? So he didn't have to just slap them around and be very arrogant. Okay?
Yeah, I wonder, facula here could also, I wonder if it has a sense of affably.
Paul, that's what I was working for. That's what I wanted. I just couldn't think of the word. That is what I wanted, okay? Okay? So, Yamwero, and I want to look at Yamwero because it means so many things, but let's just not worry about it. Temporati vita curarum remissionem quid. So this is the famous little quip that you get. That's real says it about, I think Scipio Africanus, that he divided his time between business and pleasure. He knew how to just relax. Okay? Okay? But truly, he divided his time between business and pleasure, or business and relaxation, his cares, kara, and remissionem quid, and moments of just letting pain loose. Okay?
Right. It's a concept of otium and negotium. Right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Okay? Okay, so ubi. Okay, so ubi. Okay? So on the one hand, so if this is Greek, we have a meta and that. Ubi, on the one hand, when some type of meeting or court case was demanding, he was serious and concentrated. Okay, Bravus intentus. Okay, the wherewith at Scipius Misericors, he was seriously concentrated, focused. He was severe and sometimes merciful. Okay, when those but when officio satisfactum, when business was done, satisfactum, when there was enough made of business. When business was done, officio, when his duty was over, officio is really duty. When officio was done, nulla persona ultra potestatis. He no longer wore the mask of power, no longer beyond the persona, of course, is the mask that an actor would wear, and it refers to kind of like your professional capacity. Again, in De Officiis, persona is a technical word, and Cicero describes, I think, the three different persona. So there was no anymore mask of power. No?
I have a question with officio, because I think I have it, but I'm not sure. Because I have it as dative, like when acting like as impersonal, when enough has been done with respect to the office which would work. Is that what's going on, or is that?
Paul, will you help me out? Because I want to look this up. I would have taken it for ablative.
You could say an ablative with respect too.
Yeah, let someone look this up in their dictionary, satisfactio, to see if it takes the dative or the ablative. But let's keep moving, okay?
It could also be a dative purpose.
Right. Well, let's just look. If you look up satisfactio or satisfactio, it will tell you whether it takes the dative or the ablative. Okay. But Tristitiam et abrogantiam et araritiam exuerit. He totally took off. He removed, just like an actor would remove a mask, his seriousness, his, order in the court. And this araritiam is really weird. I mean, why would he even suggest that he would have been greedy?
Yeah.
I mean, that I think is really weird. And if I was just, doing my textual edit from the hip, I would have taken it out. I don't think it makes any sense. Okay. But anyway, that ili quod est rarissimum, aut facilitas autoritatem aut serioritas amorem diminuit. So, out, neither, nor. Okay. So nor to him, dative, a thing which is most rare, did either his ease of manner diminish his authority, or did his severity diminish the love people felt for him?
There we have that quote-esque thing. I think
Exactly. Certainly did. We at the beginning they were talking about him coming away from ex philosophia, ex sapientia, modem, quodus rarissimum, Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the same expression. Okay, so integritatem ad absentiam in tanto vero refera, in iuria virtutem puera. Okay. It might be an injury of his virtue to mention either integrity or absentiam, or in such a man, in so great a man. So it almost is going back to this araritium, curiously enough. Okay, so I'm not really quite sure what's going on here, okay? I mean, even that, God, could some scribe have just written that?
Sure.
Let's not go there, because that's like, you open that, man, you're just like, you're like sucked into outer space. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate, Baba Quidem. So here again, Nate Quidem, not even.
Yeah.
Not even fame. Okay. Did he see by Seaweb? Okay. Ostenda vedute aut per artem. Let me check. Like my text will different. The actual text. Oh, no. They are ablatives. Okay, so here again, but he has two different constructions. artem through, self-consciously or, through planning, conniving.
The device or something. Yeah.
Right. Did he seek fame? So neither by spreading his stuff or in a calculated fashion. Did he seek fame? Ne tama quida. And then the quisaipe etiamboni and go and dogen. To which they even often even good men are, given. Okay. So he wasn't. So he didn't let fame go to his head as something he should be reaching for, either by ostenda virtuta or per autem, artem. Okay. And I love this a little bit. Okay. Procul ab. Okay. Okay. So he was far from stimulating jealousy
Or rivalry.
a rivalry, thanks very much, in relation to his colleagues, and he was far from stimulating, haggling against the procuratores, who would have been the guys who handled the supply train and stuff. You know what I'm saying, guys who were like getting the grain for the army and stuff. He didn't pick battles with them. Okay? And then this is my love. For he thought, Wakera in gloriam et alteri sorida. He thought that to win such battles would be inglorious and to get beaten would be sordid. So what even worth entering into? It's kind of like, okay? I love this. Wakera was in gloriam et alteri, to be beaten, to be worn away, was sordid. Okay? It's very cool just to mention De Officiis again. At one point in book 3 of De Officiis, Cicero says that a good Roman gentleman doesn't bargain with anyone over a price. He names his price, the other person names their price, and then either of the item is sold or bought. It's not just happening, oh, well, how about $10 off? Oh, no, how about 7? How about? Absolutely not. Cicero totally just nailed the cost in that, and that is totally consonant with the Greeks. And Steve, you couldn't run for politics if you'd even been in the marketplace. Have seen it, done business in the marketplace for 10 years. Roman senators weren't supposed to be involved in business. And, someone made fun of Demosthenes because his mother had sold ribbons in the market. Okay? So these guys just wanted to have me. So he thought that, to win a battle with a colleague was inglorious. Who the hell cares if you won some little, turf war battle? And to be beaten by some procurator was sordid. So he just didn't even go there.
Right. Okay? Is the sense here, procuratores, are those supposed to be his inferiors then, technically?
Yeah, they would be like the supply officers.
Right. So I had like his deputies, like somebody.
Yeah, the technical terms like the supply officers.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now it gets really easy. This is very easy now. We'll get through this very quickly. Medus triennium. Okay, so accusative of length of time. So for less than 3 years, he was detained in that position of military service. And then immediately after, he was revocatus ad spem consularis. Okay? And then you have this very interesting ablative absolute. Okay? This very interesting ablative absolute. Okay? Comitante opinione Britanniam ei proviciam dar. Okay? So he's coming back from Britain, and the opinion is accompanying him. What opinion? That Britain is to be given to him as a province. Okay? So comitante opinione
being set up by.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of an indirect discourse being set off by this totally Tacitus verbal speaking.
Right.
Totally concept opinion. Okay? Okay. And then here we go again. Dulis and hoc ipsius sermonibus. There was nothing in this of himself. No conversations of himself in this. He wasn't whispering this in people's ears that he should have this. Okay? That qui a par with a doctor, but because he seemed equal to the text. With a doctor par, but because he seemed equal to the text. Okay? And then Tacitus makes this more general philosophical thing. How semper erat fama, aliquando et elegant. So, not always is reputation a mistaken thing. Sometimes it even chooses correctly. Okay? So, how semper erat fama, aliquando. In certain circumstances, it even picks people. Okay, I picks them correctly. Okay, and now Tacitus brings himself into the thing. Consul, the count as consul, despondent. He, engaged, vowed to me as a young man, his daughter. Okay, his daughter. And genitive equality, then of exceptional hope. Because she probably would have only been 12 or 13. She's a young girl who just looks like she's going to be a marvelous human being. His daughter of exceptional hope. So what? I think Tacitus is like 27 or something, and she's probably 12 or something like that. Okay? Post consulatum collocavet. And the marriage, collocavet means the father placing the wife, the daughter, in the house of the husband. And so finally they got married after the consulship. Okay? They probably had long engagements because these girls were so young when they got married, when they were engaged, okay? And Stata Britannia Tripositus, so here we have that try again. So, and thereafter immediately, having been placed over, he was made commander of Britain, okay, and then a nice little absolute absolute. Adjecto sacerdotio pontificatus, genitive, having added to his titles, to the CV, the priesthood of a pontiff. Okay? So let's just read that all the way from the beginning. Where rentem of legionis, divus Vespasianus inter patricios activit, actende provinciae Aquitaniae praeposuit, splendidae in primis dignitatis administratione acte consulatus qui destinara. Predum plerique militaribus ingenii subtilitatem de esse, via castrensis jurisdicio secura et obtusior ac plural anu agens palinitatem fori non execia. Agricola naturali prudentia famus inter togatos, Aquila justitia ageva. Iam vero tempora curarum remissionum quae divisa, ubi coventus ac judicia ulterem, graves intentus, severus et saepe misericors, ubi officio satisfactum nulla ultra potestatis persona. Tristiam et arrogantiam et arvaritiam exuera, et illi, quod est rarissimum, aut facilitas auctoritatem aut severitas amorem diminuit. Integritatem atque absentiam in tanto vero referre in iuria virtutem fuere, me famam quidem qui sape bon etiam boni indulgen, ostenda virtute alter artem faecive. Procul ab aemulatione adversus collegas, procul ad contentione adversus procuratores, et vicere in gloriam, et apteri solidum arbitrabantur. Minus triennium in ea legatione detentus, ac statum ab spem consulatus revocatus est, comitante ponione Britanniam ei provinciam dari, nullis in hoc ipsius sermonibus sed quia pa videbatur. Al semper eram fama, alifando et elegant. Consul et regiae tum spei filiam, juveni mihi despondit, ac conc consulatum collocavit, et statum Britanniae praepositus est adjecto pontificatos facit otio. Okay? Hold on, let me just check one thing. So, I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe I made a mistake, but this is actually you. Okay? Okay? Okay, good.
Walter, do you know why they call him the pontificator? Is it because they make a bridge?
No.
What is it all about? Do you know?
No, it was a specific priesthood. It was, the Pontifex Maximus.
Yeah.
Right. It was a specific one of the priesthoods. Okay. I mean, there were many priesthoods in Rome that politicians, that men got inducted into. I don't know if you.
I was gonna say, I think Pontifex does connect to it has a weird etymology in the bridge, so it doesn't make sense, but that's one, it's one of its weird origins with.
Someone why don't someone look at that and tell us what's going on next week. Okay?
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Thanks, Larry. Thanks for bringing it up. I mean, it's worth it. I mean, I'm sure you're right that probably is in there. So it'd be interesting for someone to research. Okay, I just never thought of it.
These words are also rich, Professor.
The way Tacitus puts them together,
Oh yeah,
it's really quite a danger, And this is why I think people just don't realize what they're missing when they read this stuff in translation and they think that they understand it or got close to it. Yeah. Okay, well, let's try to get at least. I mean, we have technically 11 more maps, and this first bit is not hard. So let's try to at least get to let's see how far we can get. I think we can get halfway through this at least, okay? Okay, Britanniae septem populosque, okay? Multis victoribus memoratus, non in comparationem curva veteram, sed quiatum primum perdomitat est. Okay? So, the situation and peoples of Britain, okay, a thing, reported by many different writers, okay, I treat not so as to be in competition of their attention to the matter and literary genius, but quiatum primum perdomitat est, because then it was completely subjugated for the first time. So it's just saying that Agrippa's armies went all the way up into Scotland and stuff. So no one really knew what the island looked like. They had just assumed it was an island. No one had actually went all the way there. Okay? So, ita quae priores non dum comperta eloquentia audit, eloquentia per fluere, and that's the perfect. its earlier writers massage, by virtue of their eloquence, non dum comperta, not yet having been expected thoroughly, known thoroughly, known completely. Okay, comperta, not completely known. Okay? Revum fide, with true knowledge of the facts, are here being transmitted. Okay? So, by priori non dum comperta eloquentia, coluera, revum fide, vades.
Right, he's sort of setting up what he said earlier. I'm not going to compete with them for eloquence. I'm just going to let you know because we're in a different. Now have
facts, okay? Exactly, okay? So, Britannia, insularum quas Romana notitia complecitur maxima. So it must mean the main island, right? Okay? The island, okay, the Britain of the islands which Roman awareness most embraces. Okay? Okay? And this is hilarious, guys, okay? Spatio Acilo in Orientem Germaniae. So it is, so spatio is like where the land is, and Kylo is in relation to like what part of the sky is underneath. So I mean literally that amounts to basically like latitude and longitude. Okay? Okay. It's to the east of it's Orientum of Germany. So and this is the spatio and Kylo of Britain is in Orientum of Germany. So it's to the east. Okay, you see these three things: Orientum, Occidentum, and Meridian. Okay? So one is east, the other is west, the other is south or in the middle. Okay? So, this is, okay. So, it's not making, okay, so.
That's opposite, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems weird. I mean, I'm a little disoriented, but, Germany's to the east, okay? Spain's to the west, it extends, I'm sorry. It extends into the east of Germany. Okay, I'm a little confused here how this works.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it extends to Germany towards the east and to Spain towards the west.
Okay, good.
So those Germaniae and Hispaniae are dative without sending to. Is that right?
Are you taking them dative? See, I want them to be genitive, modifying Occidentum, but maybe that makes better sense. What are you saying, Paul? Dative, what type of
they're dative with sending to. I can look it up.
They thought that the Pyrenees were straight north and south. So they imagine Spain kind of like as literally being to the west of Britain. And like if you like just went, it actually hit Spain. They didn't realize that Spain was just like that. You had this huge open sea. They thought Spain actually hooked around underneath. So almost like you get what I'm saying, the picture that they had?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And then so separate Sempronia Eus, and to the north of it, Middle East confrontaries, there's just no earth opposing it at all. The Fasto Aperto Polosanter Mari. It is, but they are the British Isles are left by a vast and open sea. Okay? Okay, we've got 5 more minutes, so let's just do this last little sentence. Because we actually do then get to this very difficult sentence, which we could never, which is the most difficult sentence in the whole passage. So let's just do this last little bit, which is really easy, okay? Okay, so the forum Totius Britanniae, the forum of all of Britain, Livy of the old writers, and Fabricius Rusticus of the new writers, of the more recent writers, okay, are the most eloquent authors. So eloquentissimi autores has to go with Westrum and Recentum. The most eloquent authors, Livy of the old authors and Fabius Rusticus of the recent authors, okay? They liken the island ad similare, and here we have that odd and trigonodative. They liken the island to an extended, I'm not forgetting, blanking on what the two lie is, or an act.
Not a shield, is that? Yeah, a little shield.
Yeah. So basically, it's just an oblong square. Okay. And here, the Caledonian thing is Harlan. And like I say, this next sentence is really kind of weird. But just to give you the heads up, Justin and Larry, this transgresses is this really cool thing called is it the choreographic dative? The dative of like from some person viewing. Like if I said when you give me directions, like if I said, well, to someone walking down Fifth Avenue, Central Park is on the right.
Yeah.
So to someone having crossed over, okay? So we only have 3 minutes left. Let's not even start on this sentence because it is the hardest one in the passage. Let's leave it off right here in the middle of 10, and we almost got as far as we need to go because the rest of it is not very hard. But I mean, you guys all know, golly, these little geographical descriptions in antiquity are always very, very hard, man. I mean, even the opening chapter of Caesar's Civil Wars, of the Gallic Wars, it's actually quite difficult, man. Figuring out what the hell he's saying. You know, he's describing the rivers and stuff. So,
Yeah.
These always can be a little tricky because it's hard to visualize. We just take our satellite imagery and stuff for granted, but these guys got a much rougher way to go. Okay.
All right. So
I'll see you next week. And thanks for joining us, guys. Let me just make a plug for Greek and Latin in our summer intensive Latin program.